Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome to this episode number 2 of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. So, in this episode, I want to concentrate on a very, very important tool that I think gets overlooked, ignored, or even justified that we can't really look at it or we shouldn't be really looking at it because we're afraid of the consequences, we're afraid of too many changes, we're afraid of changing our current situation, and that is the truth finding tool. So, what I mean here is that I have observed from my own story, from so many humanitarians that I've been coaching, that we all have a truth within us that we really want, to be, or the things that we're wanting to do, things that we want to have. There is like, if we're really, really honest with ourselves, even if we don't tell anyone, right? Even if we're just honest with ourselves, there's always a truth about what we want. Now, we tend not to look at that truth most of the time. We tend to not accept it, even if we know it. We tend not to own it. We tend not to even consider it. We tend not to give due diligence or work or committed work to it. And therefore, we just feel like it's something that lives within us and we can't really make it true in the world. We can't really make it happen in the world because too many other factors need to be in place for it to work. So therefore, my dears, I really, really encourage you to listen to this podcast and apply as much as you can to find out your truth about your life, about who you are, and then start living it or start making it happen in however small percentage that is possible or however big percentage of it that's possible. So the way that you will know that you have this truth is by feeling it. That no matter what the things that you have told yourself, no matter what tools you have used, no matter how much you have reflected, overthought, explained, and all of the things, there's always a truth within you. Now, let me give you some stories from my real clients that I have been coaching for some time, and others I just started coaching. And these are the truths that they have had all of the time, but they really didn't give airtime. They really didn't give enough attention to it, and they kept ignoring it. They kept believing that this is not it. There must be something else. And now they're coming and recognizing that this is the truth. So one of my clients that I actually coached today was telling me that he does not know what he really wants. This is like one of the stories that he came to me. He does not know what he really wants. He knows that he's now wanting his partner, his family, and friends to be around. He wants also to be really fulfilled by his work, but he doesn't really know what he wants. And then we explored what he really wants, and he told me that, but he keeps then telling himself that he doesn't really know what he wants. And then after 2 months of session, and today was actually the 2 month, and I have confirmed to him and again what he told me, which is that he really wants his partner, his family and friends, and he wants to have a project management or advocacy role in the field, in the local context, so that he can make a difference. That's what his truth is. He told me that today. And then I was telling him the pattern that I have observed throughout these sessions, which is that he was having difficulty accepting his current reality. So therefore, he was also having difficulty accepting what he really wants. And instead, he kept doubting himself. He kept telling himself that, well, what if it's not really what I want? How do I really know what's the truth that I want, right? So if we're really honest with ourselves, and how do we know is we feel it. And he was telling me today several times that But his truth is he really wants both. He really wants to be having both of those things and having the fulfillment, having the impact. He wants both of those things. He just haven't dared to work on all of those things because he believes that all of those can't work together. One of them has to go, or one of them needs to be sacrificed, or maybe he shouldn't be just changing his location because he's now in a comfortable situation in the headquarters. Right? So that's one of the stories. You can see that he always had that truth, but he didn't want to accept that truth. He kept instead doubting, he kept instead looking at why all of those won't work, how they won't work, because he was busy also with his past. And now he realized that he can learn from the past. He let that go. He realized that he can rely on himself and he can make decisions. He knows that he can make things work. Now we're working towards how to make both of those worlds work together. Right? It's the other story that I want to tell you from another client of mine who is, again, when I asked her the first time, she told me immediately that she wants to actually get away from a research position in the humanitarian world. He wants to go to somewhere in the beach area and live her life and in doing something fulfilling, but at the same time less stress and really focusing on her private life, on her personal life, right? So she knew already what she wanted. That was her truth. But then she was also telling me all the stories of how all of that won't work, how she is in London and there are lots of other opportunities, there are lots of growth, but her heart is really pulling her towards that. But what if that will be a mistake? What if that will be something that will be regrettable? And then once we started working on her ability to deal with regret, to deal with all the other emotions that will come up and we were discussing how she's trying to choose rather fearing regret, rather fearing disappointment instead of really following her truth and believing that she can handle that regret and disappointment even if she went for that truth. And once we start realizing that we have the ability to go after our truth, no matter what the other emotions that will come up, then our brain seems like, oh, yes, I can do both. I can handle those. I can try out and follow my heart and go after what's my truth. And even if I don't make it work, or even if things won't go the way that I want to, even if I get tired after like, I don't know, 3 months of laying on the beach, whatever it is, right? I will still have followed my truth and told myself that I am someone who can go after my truth. So that's why, my dears, I really want you to use these examples, and there might be many other examples, right? So the other often given examples that I hear from my clients is that I have like, especially from female colleagues, humanitarians, who are talking about how they have always focused on their careers, their work, and now they really want to focus on their private lives, personal lives, the family, and the children. But they fear that one will be affected by the other, and therefore their truth is wanting to have both, but also maybe allowing themselves to be going for really uh, for one area and not really pursuing another without being judged, without being like, how could you, or without really feeling like they have abandoned all their stability. And once we start looking at who are they, the people who can really look at this truth, who can really believe in themselves, in their desires, and who can really believe that they can create conditions for both of those things to work, then which one would you even choose one, right? And if if you chose, which one would it be? And that's your truth. And then we're working on that, right? So I have given you ample of examples where it seems like there's always this truth, even if we tell ourselves, I don't know what the truth is, if I don't know what I want, right? Oftentimes my clients will come and say that I don't really know what I want. But it seems like we're not recognizing that we may not know what we want, but we have the ability to find out. And whenever we keep following that story of we don't know what we want, it seems like we continue not believing ourselves in our judgment and our truth. And the question then is, why spend time in that way? Because in the end, we don't get anything useful anyway, right? It seems like we don't really want to know what we want in that scenario. Then the question is, why do we not want to know what we want? Because we are telling ourselves we want to know, or we don't know, but we want to know. But then if we're not pursuing the truth of what is it that we're really wanting, then we're not recognizing that we have the ability to find out what our truth is. And it seems like we're not really wanting it. And it's fine. It's just important to be honest with ourselves so that we don't keep lying to ourselves and we don't keep lying potentially to other people around us. Right? Because I think we don't recognize how much freeing it is to look at our truth. It may also be very scary to look at our truth, right? It may be scary to look at our truth, knowing that the repercussions of following that truth would mean maybe hurting other people, we think, right? Maybe ending relationships that we are afraid of ending because we were in that relationship for so long. Maybe we change careers, or maybe we reinforce the position that we're in because we should finally um, stand by our truth. Finally, we're like owning our truth, right? So that's why I know that when you recognize your truth, even if you're doubting it, it's okay, but you give yourself time and then come back and recognizing that truth, it will then be like everything is calm. It will feel like the battle is over. It's a bit like internal battle that kept coming up. It will feel like it's over. I remember the first time I recognized my truth that I wanted to leave the humanitarian world. I remember feeling like so good at myself, so good about my truth, and also recognizing that I could do anything in the world I wanted to. And I could do anything with my life I wanted to. It was hell of a scary thing to think about, to reflect on, but still recognizing that I had that truth and giving the airtime instead of like suppressing it or ignoring it or pushing it away, giving it an airtime, starting to reflect on it more, starting to think about the repercussions, but still also starting to think about what that means for me, what that means for my life, what that means for my fulfillment, satisfaction of my life. And starting to realize that made me feel like even more daring and courageous than ever before. Because once we realized our truth of what it is that we have been hiding for so long, that we have been like not talking about for so long with other people, with our loved ones, because of fearing their judgment, because of fearing our own judgment, because of our own self talk, because of our fear of disappointing ourselves, because of our fear of being ashamed if we didn't make that happen, right? Because of all of those layers, we were like a ton of heaviness we kept putting onto our truth. And then I felt like once I uncovered all of those, it felt like so light, so this is it. This is it, and there's like no going. And the scene that comes to my mind is I don't remember which movie it was, but there was a movie where a husband and wife have been cheating on each other, have been telling bad words to each other, battling the whole time over children's custody and all the things. And then one day, I don't know how, but the house gets burned, and then they both like outside extinguishing the house. It's like all symbolism everywhere, right? And then they just fell asleep because of so exhaustion. And in the morning, she wakes up and tells him the truth that she has been hiding all those years, which was, I want to be on my own. I want to be free. Yes, I know it has all the consequences on the children, but also staying together has all the consequences on the children. So we may as well give them examples of how pursuing our fulfillment, pursuing our truth, pursuing our honesty is better example of a parent than keep showing them a lying or a battling parent that they have been doing it, right? And I so resonate with that movie because I was the child in that movie, right? I was a child in that movie seeing parents battling with each other, wanting to kill each other, and all the things. And they kept being together because of children, as they would say, right? Without ever realizing how much they have been damaging children's psyche back then. And of course, my parents didn't know back then what we know today. And I have no more hurt feelings. But still, I am, every time I think about the truth within us, this is how I think about it, is like as if our mother and father or parents, whoever the parents you had, and even if you didn't have the battling parents, maybe you had other examples you can think of, that as if like we have both within us and we kept battling and battling, like trying to justify all the time why we need to keep our jobs because it pays the bills, because it does this, or staying in the relationships because we kept justifying why it's this and this and this, even though all along we had the truth, and that truth was we want something else. And then once we get to the truth of it, then we start exploring how to deal with the repercussions of that truth if we pursue it. Yes, it will be hard in some of the aspects. It will be hard to be the person who finally tells the truth to the other person. It will be hard to tell that truth to our employer, to whoever it is that we haven't been telling the truth before that we had. It's very difficult. I mean, I can think of so many occasions where I needed to be so honest and telling my truth. And me growing up in a very polite seeking, harmony seeking family, it was like the, I don't know, I felt like lifting tons of goods on my shoulders, right? But as I remember I was doing it, I remember having this down part of my stomach feeling like very calm, even though upper parts of my stomach was like all like chest and between the chest area, right? Upper part of it was all like swirly with lots of thoughts, lots of feelings, and all of this. But the down part felt like very calm, as if to tell me, yes, you should have done this a long time ago. But it's better late than ever, so you're doing good, right? So, my dears, I really want you to find your truth that helps you make the changes, make the shifts without much, like too much of a thinking, too much of overthinking, too much of overwhelmed, or whatever the um like the rational way of thinking. Let's start working with the body, with the heart, with the chest, with everything that our bodies offer, and start accessing that truth. Excuse me. And once you access that truth, once you feel that truth, whatever that is, maybe that truth is that you want to stay where you are, even though your family wants you somewhere else. Maybe you want to have both the family and the work all together. Maybe you want only one. Maybe you want to start the brand new humanitarian career. Whatever the truth is you have, whatever that is, access it and stay with it. Even if your brain will be coming lots of ways to doubt and ask, is this really true? How do you know it's true? How do you know it's not leading you to regret, to whatever, and fear and all the things? Just stay with it and start getting familiar with that truth more and more and more. Recognize it more, accept it more. Like give more airtime, give more freedom for it to grow instead of being in like closet all the time or in the depths of our hearts all the time. We need to get it out and grow it and bring to the light, bring to the freedom, if you will. And then once you have it, you will know there will be the point where you will know that there is no turning back. This is how it is. And then you will also know that you will figure out all the things that will lead to this after this change. You will figure out how to solve all of those. And even if you don't know how to solve all of these now, it's okay. You will also know how to seek help, how to ask your support system, all of those things. You will just know. And if you have difficulty knowing, if you have difficulty identifying, if you have difficulty trusting that truth, please come to coaching. And coaching is an amazing way to help you get to your truth and build your future self-confidence or future self to guide you through that process of how to grow that truth, how to bring that to life, how to start communicating that to others confidently in the truthful, honest way. And I would love for you to work on this so that you don't need to be hiding or playing small or like keep wondering what if it would be this way and what if it would be that way or all the other things, but rather owning that truth, accepting that truth, recognizing that truth, standing by that truth, and then telling your loved ones, telling your employer, whoever you need to be telling their truth. Even if you were telling maybe something else before, telling your truth, and then saying, I know I haven't figured out all the things, but I know I will, or I will get help to figure out all the things. But this is what I really want because this is my life. And we get to live once, and living that life with that truth is so much gratifying, so much freeing, so much more like trusting than ever before. It's so much more expansive. It doesn't mean that there will not be challenges along the way living that truth, but you will always know why you did it and how you did it. You will always know that this is the path you've chosen because you didn't really want to choose another one that you didn't like, that you couldn't be the person you really wanted to, right? So that's why once you're on that path, whatever that path is for you, even if there will be challenges, you will always know, yes, I know, I know I have done this, I know I have made this decision, but I'm wanting to go through this path because that's my path. It's the path that I have chosen, not because I had to, but because I really wanted to. Because I didn't really want to live the life by other people's designs or by other people's expectations or for making other people happy. Because you have decided to live this life because you wanted to make yourself happy. Like my coach, Brooke Castillo, would say, it would be pity if you didn't like your life. I mean, if others are unhappy about your life, well, that's their decision. But if you are unhappy with your life, then it would be just pity to do that, right? Because no matter how much we think of the obstacles, we also need to recognize that we have an amazing, powerful brain, amazing, powerful heart and body, and all of the tools within us that help us go through those choices that we make, those truths that we go through. There will always be the resource within us that help us go through. And all we need to do is learn how to trust those resources, how to use those resources, and how to allow them to lead us to our to the place that we're going. Because the more we delay it, the more we won't be living that truth, and the more we'll be suffering, and we won't often know why we're suffering, even though we know why we're suffering, but we try to deny it. But the more we go through that path of truth that we find within us, the more we know why we're suffering, the more we know how to solve the suffering, and stronger we get, the more trusting we get. And we don't need to be hiding, we don't need to be pretending, we don't need to be showing any faces or showing different performances. We just get to be us. We just get to be who we really want to be. And it will be messy, it will be challenging at times, it will be also rewarding, courageous, and just like powerful is the word that comes to mind. And it will feel expansive, it will feel like extraordinary. It will feel like a masterpiece. And I really want for every one of you who's watching me, who's listening to me, who's been following me, to take this step, to do that as of now, without any delay, to start giving yourself your truth the airtime. Start getting curious to ask how you will know that this is your truth, how you will feel that this is your truth, and how you will follow it. And I would love for you to come to coaching on this. And I would love to help you to get to your truth, to recognize, own it, follow it, and overcome those challenges on the way. But getting through that process in the most exhilarating, freeing way possible. Have an amazing week, everyone. See you next time. Until then, with love, your life coach, Asel. Thank you.